Once you enter through the main gates, you have two choices. You can either venture into Ghost Town or through the Gauntlet. No matter which way you choose, the journey will be the most terrifying moments you'll ever experience. The good news is, if you happen to make it out of either area, you'll find yourself in one of the Halloween Haunt's 11 mazes or rethemed rides. And yes, that is the good news. The bad news is, each one of these specially themed attractions is more horrifying than the next. Dark and narrow pathways to navigate and tons of horrible creatures make it a hair-raising experience you'll never forget. And if you're able to walk or ride through these attractions with your eyes open, dare to take note of the detail and design that goes into them. Each one has a specific storyline, and great care is taken to ensure the nightmare is the fright experience of a lifetime. Each October, Knott's Berry Farm makes a miraculous transformation into the Halloween haunt. Although it seems to appear almost by magic, the process of building the haunt is quite involved. Many people from all walks of life come together to make the event happen each year. Planning begins in January and continues throughout the year until opening day. The designers get together with all of their ideas and begin the process with scripts, storyboards, and preliminary drawings.
It starts out with concepts and selling the concept. Then we'll develop to storyboards and ground plan. They can happen simultaneously. Sometimes one will happen before the other. But it always starts with the story first.
And then from that, we usually pick 2 or 3 themes, and we just dream it out. We basically will pick, we'll go room to room and just list out all the rooms.
Prop lists, costume lists, special effects, lighting, sound. Working with all the departments that coordinate all that. And then the art direction and the product. Then working with the talent.
Try to think of something new that we haven't done before. There's different types of mazes, gore, good, gone, bad. Pick a theme and do some research. Lots of research is involved with either movies, making sure it's current, and then deciding where the talent should be, because that's the, I think, most important part of any maze is the scare itself, obviously. That's what people come for, so.
Once the basic concepts have been approved, they're put into the hands of the construction department. Sets are built and props are fabricated beginning as early as June. Knott's employs an entire construction and prop department year-round. And as they get closer to October, additional staff is hired to ensure the haunt is completed on time.
By the end of Haunt, 1 year, we've already got a game plan as to what we probably want to do the next year. What's worked, what hasn't worked. So we start November, as we're striking, putting stuff away we're going to use next year, throwing away stuff we're not, and then planning towards next year. We start design immediately. Design is done by June on all the mazes. Production starts building 1st of June into July, and we start loading in the mazes the end of July, and Haunt's there again. So it's 12 months.
We start this pretty much right after the summer show goes up, which is in June. We start preparing any major big sets that have to be built. We try to build it as soon as possible when we get the drawings. Every year we hire people seasonally.
This is like a vacation for me. Even though there's a lot of hard work, I'm lifting walls, I'm lifting floors. It's just so much fun because you get to work with great people who are all professional, they all know what they're doing.
We've got about an 80%, maybe 90% return rate, which is really something considering that the job I'm doing as a day carpenter, temporary carpenter, starts in August, ends for most people in October, and restarts again for a couple of months in November while they strike all the sets. So it's only 2 or 3 months out of the year but people will leave their regular jobs, take vacation, just to come here and build things.
The challenges of building the haunt each year can be daunting, to say the least. With several mazes to complete and major rides to re-theme in the time allotted, everything has to come together like a well-oiled machine.
It's a lot harder than it seems, and I think people don't realize that there's a lot of fire codes, that every hallway has to be 4 feet, that you have to have emergency exits every so many feet, and it's wheelchair access. There's a lot that's involved that people just don't realize.
Sometimes we get plans, and when we get out there, there's like a tree or a post that's not there on the plan, so we have to work around that.
Trying to find things like the rides, for instance, are a big challenge. The Red Moon Massacre I did, there's a lot of limitations in what we can do in there, you know, and it's hard to keep talent interested in staying in there because they get wet, but you know, it really is scary. I mean, we need it there. So working with a mountain, you know, it's really kind of hard to figure out what to do and how to get it to be a different theme, or, you know, place the talent in the right positions.
I think a lot of effort goes into trying to work within the limited space that there is in these, because you have to remember when these rides were first created, there was no Halloween haunt, and they weren't designed to accommodate something like this. So I think it's ingenious that the designers and the construction builders and the decorators, they utilize whatever space that they have, and they actually create something terrifying to look at, or it's actually terrifying to go through.
For the attractions that occupy the park's regular ride space, construction is delayed until after Labor Day, making the pace to complete those particular attractions a bit more frantic.
We close down rides only when we need to, at the last moment, to prepare for Halloween. We try to keep things open until Labor Day because of the summer events that happen here at Knott's Berry Farm. Some of the places that are more backstage, we are fortunate enough to get into earlier, and we start doing that stuff in the summer. But some of the things like Log Ride and Mine Ride, we won't even start until Labor Day.
The maze builders, they start at a certain area, a level where it's usually concrete or it's a gutted ride, and then they do all this work. And a lot of times, because of the park opening and stuff, they're working late at night and everything.
Once construction of a maze is finished, it now needs to be painted, dressed, and props added to complete the final touch. There are plenty of props to choose from, or if needed, they can simply fabricate new props to fit any particular theme the design department can dream up.
It's just such a huge event that you've got the carpenters, safety, paint, you know, electrical. Props is the very last people to get in. So Laura the Vampire, I believe we had a day and a half to do the entire maze. You know, a lot of times it's just rely heavily on prepare ahead of time. Have everything made, ready to go. You've got this time frame, get it in.
A lot of it does happen here, you know, in the dressing of it. So we don't, sometimes we can't think of something, and a good prop person would come in here and think of, okay, well, maybe you need chicken feathers and blood by these chicken coops. Each of us have 3 to 4 designs for mazes and a show on top of it, so it's a lot to cover. So we have a very, very good, experienced crew of painters, proppers that come in and can pick up and fill in some of the holes that gets left behind. Very good support staff.
Each of the mazes and rethemed rides have their own unique storyline. Great care is always taken to ensure what is born on paper makes its way to reality.
A lot of our mazes are unique in the fact that they have their own special theme, and so a theme will be popular with just a certain demographic of people. So people that really like Alice in Wonderland will like the Malice in Wonderland maze, and we'll make that very popular. Certain scares we know just work out really well, and so we'll want to repeat that year after year. So I think there's enough of a variety that there's something that's going to appeal to a lot of different people.
There's plans that are in development for future haunts that, if approved, will be pretty stunning.
They're amazing talent. Some of these people are just, you know, you give them something and they make it 20 times better, and it's like, great. It's a lot of fun.
But it is very gratifying to see something happen. It could be even better than you've ever planned, or it can sometimes not turn out that great, but that gives you a chance to fix the problems next year or try to modify things.
Sometimes it comes out exactly like I drew it, and sometimes it doesn't, but it's better, or, you know, and because all these people get involved. I mean, it's a very collaborative process, which I enjoy. You know, I could be home drawing a piece of, you know, artwork and selling it on a street corner, but I'd much rather, you know, draw a little piece of paper and then see it come alive with all these people involved, and everyone's excited about your idea, you know, and it's really satisfying.
It's a nightmare that, for me, is a fun nightmare. It's a dream nightmare.
Ever since the first maze in 1975, the 10 chilling chambers, the Halloween Haunt mazes have been a major factor in guests returning year after year. The attention to detail and the unique theme each one possess make these attractions a one-of-a-kind anywhere.
Knott has innovated the design in mazes. They've started from day one using distinct themes throughout their mazes. Either the maze will have a constant theme that goes throughout, or it will be kind of a cornucopia of different themes within that maze. And I believe that Knott's is the one who really fine-tuned that art.
I started as a tech, and the day after summer ended, walls went up and people started loading in these things into these mazes. And I started working on what was Bates Motel over in Wilderness Dance Hall. And it was 3 of us basically building this thing. And I was amazed at just how much work we're doing for this one maze, and then looking around and seeing it all over the park. I was captivated.
I was amazed at the quality back then. I mean, just the monsters, and it just felt like a movie coming to life. And that's what was so unique about it. And I mean, I was hooked.
I think the atmosphere of the entire park is different than anywhere else, just because the whole park is really themed, you know, and you can really lose yourself and have a blast.
The development of the haunt mazes has been very significant over the years. With new innovative technology and design standards, the inspiration for the mazes comes from many different sources.
Go to lots of movies, watch, keep up on pop culture as much as possible, museums, historical places. So that's the fun part, is the research, and that's sort of ongoing, and just try to make that a part of a lifestyle.
Defining a haunt maze is almost impossible through words. The best way to describe it is to close your eyes and imagine your worst nightmare coming true. No matter what your fears, one of the haunt mazes is surely designed to touch upon it.
They'll take whatever it is that you're afraid of, whether it's spiders or clowns or werewolves or vampires. They'll go and they'll take that and they'll quantify it.
My first maze was Lair the Vampire. And we're walking through the hallways, and a very attractive bride walks up on one side, and then another very attractive bride walks up on the other. I'm 13 years old. I think I'm God's gift. She says, "Come with us." And then she hissed at me, and I about peed myself.
The clown maze was bright, it was weird, it was off the wall, it was pretty much just over the top. A lot of people have a general fear of clowns to begin with, and the designers played on that. So everything that people hate about clowns is what they pumped up.
Every single maze, I think, contributes, and you have different experiences in every one of those mazes. And I've been scared in every maze. I don't think there's necessarily one particular scare that sticks out in my mind, but I've definitely had some amazing moments.
The Halloween Haunt mazes have come a long way since the 10 chilling chambers in 1975. Each year, Knott strives to come up with new and innovative ways to scare their guests. With a dedicated design team constantly dreaming up new nightmares, the mazes will continue to evolve and maintain the high standards that were set so long ago.